This is Locked On Bets, the daily betting show that means business from the Locked On Podcast Network. Hosted by Lee Sterling and Kevin Rogers, they're dropping fearless picks with an inside edge to put money in your pocket. If there's action, they've got the lock. This is where smart bets start. It's Locked On Bets.
Welcome to the Monday edition of Locked On Bets. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. And as always, we appreciate you making Locked On Bets your first listen of the day here on the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network. And we are running the gamut today. Every video that we have, Lee, we're emptying the barrel. We're doing all of it today. So everything, NBA, college basketball, 2 plays for the Cowboys Raiders tonight. And we'll review the weekend. Got so much to get to. So let's first get to bet a little, win a lot.
They say you'll miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So bet a little, win a lot.
All right, we got a side play on Cowboys Raiders coming up later, but now we have a prop on Brock Bowers of the Raiders. Pretty much been their focal point of the offense when he's healthy. It's just he's missed some time this year, but when he's out there, it's hard to stop. So, Lee, this Cowboys pass defense has been terrible. Brock Bowers, let's see if he can take advantage of it. What do you like with him tonight?
So I think this line's going to go up. I think you want to get on it now. Looking at it, 73.5. Brock Bowers here. Receiving yards, plus 105. So I think he sees a game similar to what Trey McBride saw yesterday for Arizona. Used to be tight ends, the totals for receiving yards, 40s, maybe low 50s, but things have changed, and you have to roll with the changes here. They have no one else. I mean, the receivers, they traded away their best receiver already before the trade deadline. My algorithm has him getting around 9, maybe even 10 targets here. So I like him to go well over this number in this matchup. I think it's going to close around 75. So it's 73.5 right now, plus 115. We're going to go with bet a little, win a lot. Brock Bowers, maybe the best tight end right now in the NFL. He's so big, strong, fast, and he's finally healthy again, practically unguardable, and they're going to be going to him early and often. Let's go with bet a little, win a lot with Brock Bowers to start the day and our week on Monday.
All right. And big. I mean, say big game. I mean, both teams are under 500, but people are still going to watch tonight. Like, no matter what, people are lying like, oh, the teams aren't good. They don't care. It's the Cowboys and the Raiders. People will watch tonight. So that is coming up later, and we'll have a side play on that as well. So let's shift now to college basketball. And formerly the Civil War. We don't call it that anymore. But Oregon State and Oregon, they meet up in Eugene, and it's time now for our wrong team. Let's try that again.
What the
WTF.
Beavers and Ducks, both 3-0 on the season. Oregon State, a lot of close wins. Oregon had a couple close wins out of the gate, and the Ducks a heavy favorite tonight. Here, Lee, what do you like?
So, yeah, it's not football. I don't know if they have a name for it in basketball, but Oregon State Beavers, you think there's a rivalry? Well, it's even increased because they're left without a home after the collapse of the Pac-12. I think it's coming back next year as the they're going to call it the Pac-12, but the Pac-8 in football. It's their first season in the West Coast Conference, so it's kind of tough to judge them here. And so far, 3-0. But one of the things I like here is their offensive efficiency. They slow things down here. In fact, one of the slowest paces in college basketball, 342nd in college basketball. They walk it up a lot, so if you're getting double-digit points, that should help here. The Ducks not covered a game yet. They won all 3, but have not covered. So I think they're going to have trouble. They're going to face a guy on the inside, Johan Munch from Denmark. So didn't play much last year for Oregon State, just 23 games last year, but his role has increased here. He's now the starting center, averaging almost 10 points per game, averaging over 6 rebounds a game here. A lot of guys, they don't have the one guy that scores, like 20, 25 points, but I think it makes it tough to game plan when they share the ball. They actually run some plays, which most college teams don't do anymore here. We know the Oregon Ducks have all that money. They only beat, though, Hawaii by 1, Rice by 4, and in their last game, they did beat South Dakota State, but they're just not blowing people out here. So I think their center is good. Nate Biddle contributing 17 points per game, 10.7 rebounds per game, but just don't think, even though they're playing at home here, you want to lay double digits with a team that walks it up and runs plays and is going to be sky high for this game. It means a lot more to Oregon State than it does Oregon. They're like the little brother. And also, I believe they have a huge rivalry game. Yeah, they have coming up on Saturday. They play 22nd ranked. Oh, God. Trying to remember the game. Yep. They play 22nd. They go on. I think it's at home.
They play Auburn coming up in their next game next Monday.
Yeah, 22nd ranked Auburn. So, might be looking ahead a week from today. So they're not looking forward to this game. I'm going to take the 13.5 points here. It's going to be my wrong team favored. Oregon State keeps it close. Not going to win the game, but they'll keep it close and cover for us tonight.
Yeah, Oregon next after this game, they have a couple games in Vegas. They play Auburn and San Diego State. Then they start Big Ten play against USC and UCLA. So really it gets ramped up, and we'll see how Oregon State responds here with this one. And obviously, like you said, the Beavers will be up for this game tonight against the Ducks, getting double digits. Let's look back, Lee, at the weekend, and a very busy weekend. First, your picks, the football picks, 5-3 here on the show. And let's talk about a couple of the college winners first. Number one with Navy. You drilled Navy last week on the show. They were a home dog to USF. USF really needed to win out if they wanted a shot at the college football playoff. And, the triple option, the way Navy runs things, is a little different than a lot of these other teams that USF faces, and it somehow stifled USF. They were scoring 40, 50 points a game. I know USF still had a big output on Saturday, but Navy really got ahead of them early. USF was trailing and pretty much never in doubt with Navy getting all those points.
Exciting game. I mean, really exciting game. So I had heard rumblings that they were going to bring the starting quarterback back into the game. He had not played last week, so felt it was just a great situational play. People were thinking, oh, Navy got blown out by Notre Dame. So that game, I think they knew they were not going to beat Notre Dame. So they were going to be sky high for this game, beat a conference opponent. And everyone's talking about, everyone hiring this South Florida coach, but he's only 12-10 in conference last couple of years. So not like he's lighting the world on fire in conference play, winning some games, obviously Florida, put them on the map, but also losing a bunch of games he should win. So got to be able to coach up a little bit of defense, and they haven't been able to do it in a bunch of games. So they're just outscoring people. They have a good quarterback. But, that was one I was looking forward to. As soon as I got the word he was playing on Saturday, he came out for warm-ups. Blake Horvath, really good runner and thrower. We jumped on it big.
And Penn State, understandably, their season was cooked a while ago. They were looking for their first conference win. They were laying a touchdown in Michigan State, who's been bad. But Penn State finally came through, and they got that elusive first win. And now at least, and you were on the Nittany Lions in that one.
Well, that was the line finally came down. It was very reasonable. If you're laying 2-3 touchdowns, you're not going to lay it with them. But they got a lot of good players. They played a lot of teams close. So finally came up with a win, and they did it in blowout fashion.
Now, taking a look at just a couple of the losses, Alabama and Texas, just mentioning them really quick. And Kalen DeBoer's first home loss as a coach of Alabama. They were rolling after the Florida State loss. And then, look, Venables, Oklahoma, they've kind of had their number here the last 2 years.
Yep, they have. Defense, I mean, you got to give them credit. I thought they'd be able to score more, Alabama, but that Oklahoma defense is scary good.
And then you look at Texas, and are we still? I guess we're going to wait a while for that Arch Manning signature win. You couldn't get it against Georgia, and I feel like the Bulldogs are kind of riding under the radar a little bit with all these other teams in the SEC. Ole Miss struggled against Florida. Alabama lost to Oklahoma, but Georgia is a good home win, beating Texas.
Yeah, and Texas had 2 weeks to prepare for that game. I didn't think the game plan or the execution was even close to good enough. So who would ever think that after 2 straight years making the semifinal game, Texas, there's some calls for Sark giving up the play calling, 10 points. They're not doing anything scoring wise against these top teams. So, I think I went back and looked top 20, the last 25 years, national champions. I believe only one called plays, offense or defense. So, who was it? Jimbo Fisher, even before the playoffs. So it just shows you, even Ryan Day used to call plays, relinquish that. There's so much going on in the game. I think it's very tough. So maybe Sark has to give it up. Who knows? Me personally, no one will say this. I think Texas needs to go for a more dual threat quarterback. You want money, go for something like Damon Williams from University of Washington. You imagine him on that team? I think they lose maybe one game this whole year if he's their quarterback. So I'd say thank you, Arch. Thank you for your services. Let him go somewhere else. Let him go to Ole Miss, where his uncle played, or Tennessee, where his other uncle played, and move on from him.
Those two guys never made it. See if he could outshine them. All right. Yeah. Speaking of Jimbo Fisher, his old school Texas A&M. What a rally that was against South Carolina. South Carolina had Texas A&M dead in the water, and I don't know if Shane Beamer was upset about James Franklin talking to Virginia Tech or what it was, but just a bad loss for. I don't want to take anything away from Texas A&M. Just a bad loss for South Carolina to get your signature win this year, and A&M needed that win. Mike Elko signed that extension before the game, and I'm sure earlier in the week, you signed your extension, now you get blown out. But good win for A&M, and they helped themselves, because that loss, I don't know where that puts them as far as the college football playoff, but now you win that game, you're in pretty good shape now.
Oh, even if they lose to Texas, they're the top 7 or 8. So, I think they're in good shape. And, Shane, what he was doing, Beamer, acting all cocky. They asked him, were you surprised? He goes, no, we beat him by 24 at halftime or after the first quarter when he was interviewed. So I think it was a big mistake for him. I thought acting a little cocky. He should have been saying, just got to keep grinding. So he might be lucky to go to Virginia Tech.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, unless Jimmy Franklin gets that job. Just don't face any top 5 teams in the ACC. All right, NFL, a couple things here. You won with the Broncos. You won with the Bills. You won with the Dolphins, so a pretty good week there from the NFL perspective. Just want a couple thoughts here. First, on the Dolphins, I was going to unload on Mike McDaniel. They won the game, but still, I'm failing to comprehend how you have 4th and goal with 2 minutes and change left at the 1 or the 2 in a tie game, and you go for it, and kick a field goal there. That is beyond my comprehension.
Running up and down the field between the 20s is one thing. Goal line has been their problem since day one. One of their linemen, number 69, Strange, was so bad on the 3rd and 4th down on the second time they tried from inside, the 5 to get in, got blown up both times. Absolutely horrific. Should have gone for the field goal, take the 3-point lead. They have no timeouts, under 2 minutes. It's going to be tough for them. It wasn't like they were moving up and down the field. So, I don't have a problem with him, kicking the ball off in overtime with the rule changes. You get the ball second. No matter what happens, you can decide, are you going for a touchdown? If the other team even scores a touchdown, you go for a 2-point conversion. But, horrific decision. If they lose that game and I would have lost the cover, I would have lost it, because he should have been fired for that almost alone. I guess they're going to, keep him for the rest of the season, but just not a good head coach. They got very lucky beating a really bad team. They only scored, 16 or 19 points? They were giving up almost 37 points a game, was Washington. So Tua looked awful. He is so afraid to get hit. The Dolphins need to move on from him too, but they might have to keep him for another year based on their draft position and also what they're paying him, and probably not that home run hitting quarterback that can change your franchise this coming year.
Quickly, before we get to some NBA and the Cowboys Raiders, your thoughts on the Steelers now. We don't know what Aaron Rodgers' situation is officially, but he did suffer a wrist injury. Mason Rudolph came in for the Steelers in their win over the Bengals. We've seen Rudolph come in and play before with them, but now could the Aaron Rodgers era be over in Pittsburgh, assuming he's out long term?
So I think Mason Rudolph is going to start, and I guess I'm okay with it. If I was the head coach, I might see things a little different. I would maybe go with Will Howard starting. Then you got the veteran. If he's cold as a backup, you can bring him in. Just my thoughts, someone who watches games. But as far as gambling wise, I only think it's going to only affect the point spread a point and a half. So we'll see how the line moves on that game. But don't think it's going to be a whole lot. I don't think Aaron Rodgers at this point in his career, at one point, he moved the line 7.5 points when he didn't play. Now, point and a half tops.
Yeah, it's really nothing. And Baltimore ended up winning yesterday. So now that AFC North race getting interesting with the Ravens kind of waking up from the dead a little bit the last few weeks. Coming up, we will talk NBA. Got a couple games to get to also of a side on the Cowboys Raiders. All of that is straight ahead. You are listening to Locked On Bets. Let's talk now about FanDuel, and guess what time it is? You know what time it is. It's NFL season, but the NFL season's halfway done. There's still so much more that FanDuel has, and they have an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. So what can you use it on? So many different things. You have Cowboys Raiders tonight out in Las Vegas. Dallas is favored on the road. You have side, total, money line in that game. You want to look at Dak Prescott, maybe his passing yards, CeeDee Lamb, his receiving yards, Brock Bauer, his receiving yards on the Raiders side, maybe Geno Smith, see if he finally has a good game tonight for the Raiders, and look at his passing yards or passing touchdown props. Also, now, it feels like every week we've talked about this when discussing FanDuel, another new MVP favorite, and it's Matthew Stafford of the Rams. Right now, he passed Drake May and Stafford at plus 135, May at plus 175, Josh Allen at plus 450. So we keep seeing the merry-go-round of MVPs. You could jump on it now. Also, Super Bowl champion, AFC champion, NFC champion. You could look at all of that at FanDuel. The Super Bowl favorite, last year's Super Bowl winner, the Philadelphia Eagles at 5-1, Rams at 6-1. The Chiefs moved down a bit after a loss to Denver. So a lot of movement there. But again, so many choices at FanDuel. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Welcome back. Locked On Bets here on a Monday. The number one sports podcast network is the Locked On Network. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports with you. So let's get to the National Basketball Association, Lee, and let's start with the hidden gem.
To find a diamond in the rough, you need to dig a little deeper for those hidden gems.
Look at the Cavaliers and the Bucks tonight. That'll be my selection. And second time these teams are meeting up this season. Cleveland won the first matchup. We're going to go with the first quarter play, though, Lee, and we're going to take the Cleveland Cavaliers minus 3.5 against Milwaukee. A couple notes here. Number one, Cleveland 6-2 in the first quarter of the last 8 games. Now, one of those losses came, or actually, let me rephrase that. They had a non-cover against Toronto. Actually, hold on a second. Make sure I get my numbers right here before we continue. No, I lost track of the days, Lee. They led Toronto by 1, didn't cover it. So I talked about it with you on Friday. Saturday, they trailed against Memphis after the first quarter. Okay, I got it right now. They have not trailed after the first quarter in consecutive games this season. So I like that trend. Milwaukee's just 2-5 the last 7 in the first quarter. They were blown out by the Lakers a few nights ago on the second of that back-to-back after they beat Charlotte in overtime. And I just think Cleveland gets out to a good start here. They have failed to cover in the first quarter of the last 3 games. So let's go with the Cavaliers. Long story short, we're going to take the Cavs minus 3.5 against the Bucks as our hidden gem.
Love it. They had a tough schedule last week, travel-wise, just matchup-wise. So they sat players one of the games. They should be ready to go tonight. I'm on it also with you.
Yeah, I'm not loving Milwaukee. I mean, past Giannis, I don't really know what else is get excited about that Bucks team. But we'll see what the Cavs can do. Oh, you got the good doctor running things. All right, now let's shift over to our blowout special in the NBA.
Oh, boy. Last one out, turn off the lights. This one's a blowout.
Timberwolves and the Mavs coming up tonight. And it's so interesting. Lee and I were talking about this before the show about Dallas. And they had Cooper flagged with the number 1 pick, and he's going to be good. He will be. Anthony Davis is hurt. But just how the Mavericks a few years ago were in the NBA Finals, and Nico Harrison makes this move, trading Luka Doncic. Kyrie gets hurt, but they trade their franchise player away to the Lakers. It befuddles everybody. He ends up getting fired, and you just torpedoed the franchise just because you had maybe something against Luka. You drank a beer after the game one time. You know, Luka's still one of the best basketball players in the world. You see what he's doing with the Lakers now. So that being said, Lee, I got caught there. T-Wolves, Mavericks, what do you like?
All right, so can you imagine what they'd have with Kyrie Irving coming back late in the year or next year? They'd be able to run teams absolutely out of the gym. But they're going to be struggling for a while here with no Anthony Davis. Also, even their backup point guard, Dante Exum, I thought was a steadying force, tough matchup. Now they got to face a Minnesota team coming off a loss at home to Denver. So, you know, they're itching to get back out on the court. They got scoring with Julius Randle, Anthony Edwards. These two guys had 26 points in that game. Huge scores. A lot of people don't realize this, but Jaden McDaniels, 6'9" forward from Washington, in his fifth or sixth year, he's doing a great job. He's averaging almost 18 points a game. Rudy Gobert protects the paint. Dante DiVincenzo, he's been great starting. I like him starting better than coming off the bench. And move Conley back to the bench, backup point guard. I think that's a good move. And Naz Reid, he's having a great start to the year also, double digits. So I like their bench. Just think they have way too much firepower here for a Dallas team looking to find themselves who's 4-10 and beaten no one so far this year. Let's go with a blowout special to start the week off here on Monday. Minnesota Timberwolves, they might win this game over Denver. I'm sorry, not Denver, over Dallas by 20-25 tonight.
Yeah, and they had their problems with the Nuggets a few times. And, up that back-to-back, now a day off, and we'll see how they fare against the Mavericks tonight. So we'll shift from one Dallas team to the other. We'll talk about the Cowboys and the Raiders coming up. Monday Night Football out in Las Vegas. That is straight ahead. Our lock of the day right here as you're listening to Locked On Bets. Locked On Bets continues here on a Monday. Kevin Rogers and Lee Sterling of Paramount Sports. And you got the silver and blue of the Cowboys, the silver and black of the Raiders tonight. Two proud franchises that have not been proud this year. We'll see how it turns out. Cowboys, Raiders. Time now, Lee, for the lock of the day.
Open it, open it, open it. Lee has the key to the lock of the day.
So Pete Carroll comes to the Raiders this year out of retirement, thinking, all right, he could turn things around, brings Geno Smith in from Seattle. He has his quarterback now that he had a relationship with the Seahawks. But Geno has not been good. The Raiders have not been good. They have 2 wins. Somehow they beat the Patriots in week 1. And then their other wins over the awful Titans. But the Cowboys, though, they can score. They can't defend. Dallas favored on the road tonight, Lee. What do you like with the Cowboys and the Raiders?
So I truly believe the 2-7 Raiders haven't quit yet. This is last 3 games of the year. I might, agree with a lot of people, but I think they're going to be fired up. Teams get fired up playing Monday Night Football, especially playing the Cowboys here. Offensive line, I don't think is going to be overmatched by the Cowboys' defensive line. Also, Dallas has allowed second most yards and points, 397 yards and 30.8 points. All of a sudden, they got a couple guys to help on the defensive line and linebacker position, but it's not like they did a whole lot with their old teams. They didn't help the 2-7 Jets or the 3-6 Bengals here. So I just think that this is a case of 2 teams looking to find themselves here, and not much difference as far as between the quarterbacks. Some people will say that Dak is better, got better stats, better receivers, but I love Brock Bowers at tight end. I think that's a huge mismatch here. And if they would have just done a little bit more, if they hadn't been awful on special teams on offense in that game against Denver, they could have beaten Denver here. So we're going to go with a level 1 lock to start the week off on Monday in the NFL game tonight. I like the Las Vegas Raiders here, plus the 3.5 points, level 1 lock.
You look back, Lee, the Raiders lost by 1 to the Bears. They lost, they had the 2-point conversion they failed on against Jacksonville in overtime. The Denver game you talked about, not like they're a playoff team. They're a couple plays away from having 4 or 5 wins and being a little more respected. The Chiefs have 5 wins. Like, the Raiders are that close to being where the Chiefs are at if a couple things went their way.
Yep, I agree. So a lot of teams winning close games, like the Broncos, a few other teams, and not saying they should be a team with a winning record, but I don't think they're as bad as their record. Let's just put it that way.
And it's funny, you talk about the Chiefs really quick, that all those 1-score games are going against them now.
Yep.
So now things change a little bit when that happens. All right, November, we are in the midst of it, Lee, and college basketball, these teams have gotten several games under their belts. College football, we're coming down the stretch. NFL, Week 12 coming up. We have Week 11 finishing up tonight with the Cowboys and Raiders. So what's going on with Paramount Sports?
Well, first of all, we had another winning week. One for third straight week in college football. One now, I think it's for 8th out of the last 9 weeks in the NFL. Don't know many people that can do that. So you want to hop on board, check out all the specials. We have the NFL Sunday Golden Ticket, 5 selections every Sunday for 4 weeks, just $197. There's no greater bargain out there. We're now 33-10-1. 33-10-1 for the last 9 Sundays. So no one can match that record. $197. We text you the games. You get them by Friday, 12 noon. So you're going to get good lines. Good lines are important. Some of these lines change a half a point. Player props. I can't stress it enough. Some people say, oh, well, I haven't bet them. Why not? How about this? Well, we only went 10-0 against the spread last 10 NFL player props. We're now 13-1 on NFL player props going back to last Monday. No one can touch that record also. You want to try us on college football and NFL player props from tonight, and we got quite a few tonight all the way for the next 10 days, $50. Try us out. $50 for 10 days of NFL and college football player props. And yeah, next week you're going to get all the way through. We're on Monday. You're going to get through Thanksgiving Day. So check that out. Check out all the big specials. Also might have a dollar card going up in a couple days for UFC. We actually had a rare losing card in the UFC. We own it and might do a dollar super saver card for 5 or 6 selections in the UFC. So you can try us out in the UFC. We've still won, I think it's 18 of the last 24 cards. Everything's up and available. ParamountSports.com.
And don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Locked On Bets. And also, you can find our podcast. You can type in Locked On Bets, Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts. For Lee Sterling, I am Kevin Rogers. We will talk to you again coming up on Tuesday. We appreciate you tuning in to the Monday edition of Locked On Bets right here on the Locked On Podcast Network.